Japheth's wife, the city that Japheth built, and he went towards the west. So if you go west from where the ark settled, you go in the direction of Europe, that we call the land that we call Europe today. Okay, that's where Japheth went and settled. So now we've given you 3 sources proving to you that the sons of Japheth are not Israelites. Okay, now what I want to do is go back to Genesis chapter 10 again, and it's read it, but I want to reiterate on this part here where it says that the sons of Japheth, verse 2 says the sons of Japheth were Gomer, Magog, Madai, Yavan, Tubal, Meshach, and Tyrus. And it says, and the sons of Gomer are Ashkenaz. So Gomer, as we read in the works of Josephus, are the people who are called Gauls or Galatians, which are Germans and not Israelites, not Shemites, but they are Japhites. Okay, so biblically, historically, it's all wrong. They cannot be Israelites. It's wrong. Now, biblically, we're going to show you that the British Israel are not Israelites biblically. Okay, we're going to go to Genesis. Okay, and we're going to look at the father of the nation of the people who they proclaim to be descended from, Ephraim and Manasseh. Okay, we're going to go to Genesis. I think it's chapter 36, I believe it is. I'm wrong, it's not 36. It's 41. Genesis chapter 41. Okay. All right, Genesis chapter 41. Now, just recapping very briefly, Joseph, one of the 12 sons of Israel, or Yaakov, or Jacob, whose name was changed to Israel, had a son named Joseph, who had a vision, a dream. He saw the sun and the moon and the stars bowing down to him. His brothers got upset. They got jealous with him, told him, what does this mean? We're going to be your servants. We're going to serve you. So he told them that this dream meant that his brothers was going to be his servants. Long story short, they didn't like it. They ended up, first they wanted to kill him. They decided not to kill him. So here's what we're going to do. Let's sell him into slavery, and then we're going to tell the father that he was killed, right? So he ended up in Egypt, interpreting dreams of the Pharaoh, became great and knowledgeable in wisdom and knowledge and interpreting dreams. And the Pharaoh, during the time of famine, became wealthy, and he made him to be second in command in Egypt. Now, as a result of him making the Pharaoh and Egypt a wealthy civilization, the Pharaoh felt indebted to him. And the Pharaoh, as a result of his indebtedness to him, gave him a wife. Okay? And we'll find that in Genesis chapter 41. And let's start at verse 41. 41. Okay? We're going to read down. Genesis 41:41.
And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, See, I have set thee over all the land of Egypt. And Pharaoh took off his ring from his hand, and put it upon Joseph's hand, and arrayed him in vestures of fine linen, and put a gold chain about his neck. And he made him to ride in the second chariot which he had. And they cried before him, Bow the knee. And he made him ruler over all the land of Egypt. And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, I am Pharaoh, and without thee shall no man lift up his hand or foot in all the land of Egypt. And Pharaoh called Joseph's name Zephnath Paneah, and he gave him to wife Asenath, the daughter of Potiphar, priest of On. And Joseph went out over all the land of Egypt. And Joseph was 30 years old when he stood before Pharaoh, king of Egypt. And Joseph went out from the presence of Pharaoh and went throughout all the land of Egypt. And in the 7 plenteous years, the earth brought forth by handfuls. And he gathered up all the food of the 7 years which were in the land of Egypt, and laid up the food in the cities, the food of the field, which was round about every city, laid he up in the same. And Joseph gathered corn as the sand of the sea very much, until he left numbering, for it was without number. And unto Joseph were born 2 sons before the years of famine came, which Asenath the daughter of Potiphar, priest of On, bare unto him. And Joseph called the name of the firstborn Manasseh, for Yah, said he, hath made me forget all my toil and all my father's house. And the name of the second son he called Ephraim, for Yah hath caused me to be fruitful in the land of my affliction. And the 7 years of plenteousness that was in the land of Egypt were ended. And the 7 years of dearth began to come, according to Joseph had said. And the dearth was in all the lands, but in all the land of Egypt there was bread. And when all the land of Egypt was famished, the people cried to Pharaoh for bread. And Pharaoh said unto all the Egyptians, Go unto Joseph, which what he saith to you, do. And the famine was over all the face of the earth. And Joseph opened all the storehouses, and sold unto the Egyptians, and the famine waxed sore in the land of Egypt. And all the countries came into Egypt to Joseph for to buy corn, because that the famine was so sore in all the lands.
That's good. So now, what do we gather from reading that? That Joseph took him a wife, right, who was the daughter of a priest of On, a city in Egypt, a son of Egypt, a woman of Egyptian nationality or ethnicity, who gave him 2 sons, which is Ephraim and Manasseh. Okay, so here we have an Israelite who married a woman who was of African descent, if you want to use that terminology. She was a black or dark person from the dark races of people. Okay, now let's do this again. We did this on the last setting, but we're gonna read it again, and we're gonna read who Ham is and who Ham was the father, according to Brother Zondervan, the anointed Brother Zondervan, the one who was anointed by the Most High to say what he said. So much so that they decided to publish this for the whole world to see. All right. So having said that, I'm going to, you want to read it for me or you want me to read it? Ham. Out of Zondervan's, what is that? Zondervan's Compact Bible Dictionary. Okay, under Ham.
The youngest son of Noah, born probably about 96 years before the flood, and one of the 8 persons to live through the flood, he became the progenitor of the dark races, but not the Negroes, but the Egyptians, the Ethiopians, the Libyans, and the Canaanites.
That's good. So Ham, we read, is the father of the dark races, Egyptians, dark races, Egyptians, dark races, Egyptians, dark races, right? Now, do me a favor, look in there and see if you see On in there, O-N, the city of On. So while she's getting that, the deception is that Ephraim and Manasseh are Britain and America. Okay? And the deception is that Britain and America obtain the blessings. Okay? Did you find On? Okay, go ahead. She's going to read where On is. Okay?
A delta city of Egypt, called by the Greeks Heliopolis, city of the sun, and so rendered in the Septuagint.
That's it?
I mean, it's a lot more.
Oh, okay.
You want me to keep reading?
Yeah, keep reading. See what we can glean out of that.
The name has been changed to Avon by misvocalization. Avon means idolatry. It is called Beth Shemesh in Jeremiah 43 and 13. A word of similar import. On is an Egyptian word signifying light or sun. So the Greek and Hebrew names are fair translations. The priest of On, whose daughter Aseneth became Joseph's wife, was a person of considerable importance. The worship of the sun deity was centered there, had peculiar features which suggest Syrian influence. Ra was identified with Baal by Semites and with Apollo by the Greeks. There must therefore have been a cosmopolitan element in the temple cult to match the atmosphere of a center of international trade. It is perhaps significant that On is named as the place of sojourn of the Holy Family after the flight into Egypt, a Reubenite chief who took part in the rebellion of Korah.
Is that it?
Yes.
So now we see that On, and we learned a whole lot of good information, which means sun. So we all know who the sun worshiper, who the original sun worshiper was, were the Egyptians. Now, just want to give you a little something here, a little learning something, way learning something. Alexander the Greek, when he went into Egypt, when he so-called conquered the whole world and they gave him the label of Alexander the Great, first thing he saw when he went into Egypt was the religion of the Egyptians, which was worshiping of Amun-Ra, or On, the sun. When the Greeks went into Egypt, they embraced the worship of the ancient Egyptians, and what they did was, there's a terminology called Hellenize, right? What they did was they Hellenized the people, they Hellenized the culture, they Hellenized the religion, and they embraced it for themselves, and they started their variation of the Egyptian sun worship, which is Christianity. That's a whole nother lesson, right? Send me an email, askmalachiah@gmail.com. Christianity is based off of sun worship. You don't believe me? Why is it that all of the holidays that are celebrated have its relationship to sun, solar? The calendar year begins January 1st, which is the celebration of the incomparable sun, or what's called the winter solstice, which culminates on the first day, which is the worship of the Janus deity, the deity of looking back and looking forward, a two-headed ancient deity, right? So the spring feast that is celebrated in Christianity, called Easter, is also, they got from the worship of Isis and the worship of Astarte, Ashtoreth, which is the worshiping of the sun. Okay, and the feminine, or the goddess, if you will, of fertility, called Aphrodite, which they borrowed from the Greek Isis, and like I said, Astarte, or Easter, which is why in the Christian church people have what? On Easter Sunday they get up and have a what? Sunrise service. The Most High rebuked the children of Israel in the book of Ezekiel for worshiping the sun in the east and doing what? Making cakes to the Queen of Heaven. Who was the Queen of Heaven? Isis, right? Who is the queen of heaven? The goddess of fertility. Who is the queen of heaven? The Easter bunny. Okay? The Easter bunny was supposedly hatched, right? The egg fell out the sky and landed in the river of Euphrates. The bunny supposedly went and got the egg, laid on the egg, and hatched the egg. And out came Ishtar, Astarte, Easter. All right? Now, so let's go back. We identified that Ephraim and Manasseh came as a result of Yosef, an Israelite, and an Egyptian wife by the name of Azina, who was a woman of color, a dark race Egyptian. So therefore, we can't have America white, European, and Britain white, European, being the tribe of Ephraim and Manasseh. All right? It's impossible. Now, what I will show you, we're going to cover something right quick. I have the book of Jasher. I got a bunch of books here. I could pick one of these books and just go, we can run with it all day long. But I'm just going to grab a few that comes to my mind. We're going to go to the book of Jasher, chapter 90, right? And we're going to show you. Now, we've identified in Genesis chapter 10, one of the sons of Japheth. And after this, I'm going to put this baby to bed, and we're going to deal with the Israelites, so-called African Americans and blacks. Okay? In Genesis chapter 10, we've identified that Noah had a son named Kittim. Kittim. We've already dealt with Gomer, the Galatians, and the Germans, and not Shemites, not Israelites, but Europeans, descendants of Ashkenaz, Gomer, the Galatians, the Gauls, the Scythes, the Celtics, etc. And Josephus broke it down even better than I can break it down. Now, one son, Chittim, went to war with Esau. So many of the people who are proclaiming to be Israel are actually Esau. We're going to show you that. All right. So in the in the book of Jasher, chapter 90, I'm going to ask my Ishah to help me out again. And we're going to read, and we're going to tell you, I'm going to show you what happened to the sons of Chittim. So we're going to start at chapter 90. Right there, she's going to read. This is the book of Jasher, chapter 90, on page number
178.
On page number 178, the book of Jasher, chapter 90. Okay.
At that time, in the 5th year after the children of Israel had passed over Jordan, after the children of Israel had rested from their war with the Canaanites, at that time great and severe battles arose between Edom and the children of Kittim, and the children of Kittim fought against Edom. And Abianus, king of Chittim, went forth in that year, that is, in the 31st year of his reign, and a great force with him of the mighty men of the children of Kittim, and he went to Seir to fight against the children of Esau. And Hadad the king of Edom heard of his report, and he went forth to meet him with a heavy people and strong force, and engaged in battle with him in the field of Edom. And the hand of Kittim prevailed over the children of Esau, and the children of Kittim slew the children of Esau, 22,000 men, and all the children of Esau fled from before them. And the children of Kittim pursued them, and they reached Hadad king of Edom, who was running before them, and they caught him alive, and brought him to Abianus king of Kittim. And Abianus ordered him to be slain, and Hadad king of Edom died in the 48th year of his reign. And the children of Kittim continued their pursuit of Edom, And they smote them with a great slaughter, and Edom became subject to the children of Kittim. And the children of Kittim ruled over Edom, and Edom became under the hand of the children of Kittim, and became one kingdom from that day. And from that time they could no more lift up their heads, and their kingdom became one with the children of Kittim.
See that? So the sons of Kittim or Chittim became one people with Esau. Right? Now, who's Kittim? Kittim is a seafaring people, right? They are equivalent to the Greek people, okay? Kittim killed off, what was it, 22,000 people, was it something like that? These are all males.
220,000 men, and all the children of Esau.
They killed
before him.
220 or 22,000, which were men, right, in war. So what happened to the women? Right? The men raped the women, and they became one people. So the Edomite women became married to Greeks, and they became a Greco-Edomite. Now, we can follow history, and we can show you that Herod, right, was a descendant of the Chittimites, or the Greeks, and the Edomites on the mother's side. Thus you have the Edomite, Chittimite nation of the Greeks. Okay? Now, let's go back to Genesis chapter 10, and we're going to progress forward. Prayerfully, if I need to do an addendum, we will, because I'm not really done proving that British and America is not even Manasseh. I can go through the whole book and show you all the prophecies. I'll tell you what I will do. Before we go to Genesis 10, let's do this here, right? Because the word is that Britain and America inherited the what? Blessings. That's why America's so great. The land of the free and the home of the brave. And they say it so proud. I'm proud being American. Right? They say it so prideful. America's a great, make America great again, right? Britain, supposed to be great, right? Okay, now, so we're going to show you, we're going to Daniel chapter 9, right? We're going to Daniel chapter 9. And we're going to dispel, we're going to show you what the prophet said about Israel, right? Daniel 9. And we're going to read one verse there. I'm going to read it. Okay. Huh? You still getting it? Oh, you want me to read it? Oh, you just want me to read it? Okay. So we're gonna read Daniel 9. Daniel 9, one verse 9 and 11. Okay. Before I read it, let me say this here. The prophet Moshe, after Israel went out of Egypt captivity, right? In the wilderness, the Most High took them up to the mountain and said, if you obey my commandments, you shall be blessed in the city, right? We sing song, we're blessed in the city, we're blessed in the field, yeah. We're blessed when we come and when we go. Ooh. You know, we sing that. But the second half of that same chapter, the Most High, through the mouth of Moshe, said, if you don't keep these commandments, you're going to be what? Cursed in the city, cursed in the field, cursed when you come and when you go, right? That was a prophecy to Israel. If you break this covenant, right? Now, Daniel, when Israel went into, according to 2 Kings chapter 17, you can read the whole chapter, when the northern tribes of Israel went into Assyrian captivity, because the king, the greatest king on the face of the earth, Shlomo, who the world called Solomon, got old and made all these places of worship for his wives. The curse came, right, upon the people, right? I got to deal with that because I talked about it earlier in our devotion. The curses. Canaan was cursed. And the reason why Israel went into a curse was because they married a cursed people, right? We'll deal with that, okay? So the prophet Moshe told Israel, if you break these covenants, you're going to be cursing the city, you're going to be cursing the field, all these curses are going to come upon you. You're going to be tail, not the head. You're going to be beneath and not above. And you're going to go into captivity. You're going to go in slave ships, right? You're going to go into Egypt in ships, and you're going to be sold as male and female slaves. You're going to be scattered into the four corners, known as bywords, proverbs, and astonishment. That whole chapter, read that, okay? Now, when Israel went into Babylonian captivity, Judah, I should say, Israel went into Assyria, the northern tribes, after the kingdom was divided in half. Well, it wasn't divided in half, but it was split. 10 tribes went north, 2 tribes went south, or they say 1, but 2 technically, okay? Representation of three, but you get the message. It was divided, right? So while Daniel was a prophet in the kingdom of Babylon, right? The Most High, he went and sought the Most High to ask him about when are we coming back out of captivity to go back to the land that was promised to us, to our father Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So now is where we find in Daniel 9 and verse 11, Daniel, after he sought the Most High, let's just read a little bit of that, okay? Daniel 9, start at verse 1. In the year of Darius, son of Ahasuerus, of the seed of the Medes, which was made king over the realm of the Chaldees, in the first year of his reign, I, Daniel, understood by books the number of years whereof the word of Yah came unto Yirmiyahu the prophet, that he would accomplish 70 years in desolations of Jerusalem. See that? He believed that the prophet spoke, and we can read that if you want to. I won't read that. You can Google that, or you can do a search and read it yourself. Okay? The prophet Yirmiyahu prophesied that Israel was going to come out of captivity in 70 years, right? So Daniel was a little confused what's going on. So he said, you knew what the book said, you knew what the prophet said. I'm not gonna call a man a false prophet. Well, something is wrong here. Okay. So in verse 3, instead of him exposing Yirmiyahu like a lot of Hebrews do, I'm gonna expose him as a false prophet, right? He didn't expose him. He went and sought the Most High to pray, right? He said he set his face unto Yah Elohim, and no, you don't pray for somebody who's telling you to break the commandments. You expose them. Those that are telling you to obey the Most High, but maybe they might have said something that goes a little different than what you understand, that you pray for. But a person that's telling you to disobey the Most High, you expose that right away. Okay, just thought I would add that in there because somebody will say, well, brother, you exposed the other brother. I expose lies, right? Anybody that's talking against the law needs to be exposed, right? You don't want to obey the law, just say, I don't want to obey. I want the identity without the covenant. And I can respect you for that, okay? Moving forward. So Daniel chapter 9 verse 3 says, I set my face unto Yah Elohim, to Yahweh Elohim, to seek by prayer and supplication with fasting and sackcloth and ashes. And I prayed unto Yahweh my Elohim and made my confession and said, oh Yah, right? There goes that word confession. What was the Israelites supposed to do when they sinned and they had knowledge that they sinned, they transgressed? Confess. So here we see him confess and said, oh Yah, the great and dreadful Elohim, keeping the covenant, right? Remind the Most High of his covenant, keeping the covenant, and mercy unto them that love him and to them that keep his commandments. See that? The Most High keeps mercy unto thousands of them that keep his commandments. He knew what it says in what we call the Decalogue, in Exodus chapter 20. He said, showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. Right? All right. So he's quoting back Torah to the Most High. He says, we have sinned and have committed iniquity, right? And have done wickedly and have rebelled. And so he covered all the words. He got them all. Committed iniquity, we have done wickedly, we have rebelled, even by departing from the precepts and from thy judgments. Neither have we hearkened unto the servants, the prophets, which spoke in thy name to our kings and our princes and our fathers and to all the people of the land. Right? Verse 7. O Yah, he says, righteousness belongeth unto thee, but unto us confusion of faces, as at this day, to men of Yehuda and to the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and to all Israel. Not just, he didn't leave out Israel. He said Judah, Jerusalem, and all Israel. He didn't leave nobody out. The tribes scattered abroad, all of us had transgressed. Watch what he says. And to all Israel that are near and that are far off. He covered everybody. Lottie Dottie and everybody. He covered the dog and the cat and everybody else in Israel. He said that are near and that are far off, through all the countries whether thou hast driven them. Ain't nobody got no blessing, because of their trespasses that they have trespassed against thee. Right? Verse 8. O Yah, to us belong confusion of face, to our kings, to our princes, and to our fathers, right? Because we have sinned against thee, right? Verse 9. To Yah, our Elohim, belong mercies and forgiveness, though we have rebelled against him. Right? Verse 10. Neither have we obeyed the voice of Yah, our Elohim, to walk in his laws, right? Which he set before us by his servants, the prophets, right? 11. Here's the kicker. Yes, all Israel. You got any doubts in your mind? He says all Israel. How absolute is all? All. Didn't leave anybody out. He said, all Israel have transgressed thy law, right? Even by departing, that they might not obey the voice. Therefore, the curse is poured, not the blessings. America, great land. Britain, great land. Therefore, the curse is poured upon us. The curse, not the blessing, the curse. The curse is poured upon Israel, not the blessings. Stop lying. Therefore, the curse, right, is poured upon us, and the oath that is written in the law of Moshe, the servant of Yah, because we have sinned against him. Ephraim and Manasseh got the blessings? Huh? Talk to me now. Ephraim and Manasseh did not get the blessing. They went into captivity just like the rest of them, right? The whole nation. Now, if that's not good enough for you, I'm going to put the nail in the coffin right here. Let's go to Luke 21, right? All right? Luke 21. Let's start at Luke 21 and verse 20. We're going to read down to verse 24. Okay.
And when ye shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, ye know that the desolation thereof is nigh. Then let them which are in Yehuda flee to the mountains, and let them which are in the midst of it depart out. And let not them that are in the countries enter thereinto. For these be the days of vengeance, that all things which are written may be fulfilled. But woe unto them that are with child, and them that give suck in those days. For there shall be great distress in the land, and wrath upon this people. And they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations. And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles, until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled.
So the Messiah said it in the red. He said, they shall fall by the edge of the sword. Not going to America, being blessed, the great American. Make America great again. He said, they shall fall, not rise. There's a difference between rising and falling, right? They shall fall by the edge of the sword. Okay? Historically, we know what happened. The Romans came and they destroyed the city. The abomination of desolation was set up right in the temple, right? Historically, more than one time. During the days of Antiochus and the book of Maccabees, the temple was desecrated. Abominations set in. During the time of the Mashiach, when the Romans came right here, he said, they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away, not migrate. See, because British Israelism say, oh, they migrated. The Most High said they shall be led captive. It's a difference between migrating and being led captive, isn't it? They shall be led away captive. Just in case you don't believe me, what's the word in Greek for captive? It says it's Ike Malatizo, which says to make captive, right? And it's from 164, which says what? It's a spear, as a derivative, as the same of, it says properly, a prisoner of war. So they were led captive, or led as prisoners of war. We know for a fact that Israel was led captive in the book of Judges. If I go to the book of Judges, I can break it down to you, where every time Israel sinned against the Most High, they went into captivity. So going into slavery, captivity, is not new to Israel. Every time Israel disobeyed, they went into captivity, right? Every time. It's historically proven. The last one is no different, right? Every time Israel sinned, they went into captivity, right? So now he says they shall be led away captive into all nations, not migrate to Britain, to Ireland, right? To Greenland, right? To the great kingdom of Britain. He said they shall be led captive, taken prisoners of war into all nations. And then he says, and Jerusalem, that place where he put his name there, shall be trodden down. What does it mean to be trodden down? Okay. It's the Greek word pateo, which means to trample. Okay, 38:74 it says. What's that? All right, 38:74 it says what? An imploration or hortation or solace. Imploration, hortation or solace. Right? Or now that's also from the word paraklesis, which means to call near, to invite. So there's a prophecy in Genesis that said, in Genesis 9, I think it said, Yah shall enlarge the earth, and he shall dwell in the tents of Shem. That's Genesis 9, right? It's 9, I believe. So going back to Luke, so he says, they shall be led away captive into all nations, and Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles, right? So Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled. So you Israelites, you black African American Negroes, you ended up in captivity because of disobedience. That's why you the tail. That's why you are poor in your city. That's why many of us are on welfare. We got food stamps. We on public assistance, right? We in public housing, right? We go to public school where they teach us all paganism, right? All the pagan holidays, right?